Nebraska Cornhuskers are knee-deep into Big Ten competition as we're going to review 3 games, a couple of road games that happened last week for the Big Red at Michigan State, at Minnesota, and then a home game with Illinois. You're in the rough and tumble stretch here. There's no breathers between now and the end of this season.
Yeah, it is. Our early portion of the Big Ten schedule is very difficult, and opening up with the game at Indiana, coming back against Purdue. I think they were number 4, then moved up to number 1 after that game. One of our most competitive, best performances of the year. Just couldn't quite close it out. And then at Michigan State, get Iowa at home. Tough team that's playing really well right now. Get a good win at Minnesota, and then Illinois, who's really clicking right now, playing probably their best basketball. So, yeah, just got to stick with it. Got to be more consistent, and hopefully close out some of these games.
At this point, this is where having a veteran group probably helps you a little bit.
It does, yeah. And they've been resilient. And anytime we've had a loss, they've been very attentive in the film sessions. The thing we're not doing great is bouncing back after a win. And those have been, you look at Illinois after a great win against Minnesota. We tried everything in practice not to let them get comfortable. And we just never gotten any rhythm. And fouls hurt that. I mean, that was a big part of it. But, I just didn't think we were quite as crisp as we had been the game before.
A lot to get to in the next 30 minutes. We're back to check out the action from the Huskers' visit to East Lansing, Michigan, and Michigan State. That's coming up next. Welcome back to the Bank of the West Husker Basketball Show. Nebraska played their first game of 2023 on the road at East Lansing against a Michigan State team that's finding their groove.
Yeah, they've been really good, and it's a team that's really clicking on all cylinders right now. Great move by Derek here. We feel really good getting him the ball right there at the nail with space. Good action going on both sides where he can either score it or go to work. Good strong take by Juwan right there. Good spacing in the corners by our guys. So decent start, and then we really hit a snag as it went on. That kid had a heck of a half with Tyson Walker. And, we forced them into some shots that normally we would be okay with the team taking. Wilhelm is shooting the ball much better, playing with better confidence. You try to force teams into the mid-range, and they exposed us on it. They were 14 to 24 in mid-range. A lot of those were contested. Iowa, for example, was 1 for 16 on those same shots, and it's what you want to give up, and unfortunately they made a high percentage of them. Good job right there by Juwan slipping out. They really show on any type of screen in a good solid read. Again, Derek going to work, against a young player who's got a bright future, but a tough cover for a veteran guy like Derek.
Coach, it just seemed like their ball movement was really good all night long. I would lean more that way than Nebraska not being where they needed to be.
Yeah, they did. They moved it, and like I said, they're really playing and hitting on all cylinders right now, especially when they shoot the ball like they have been. And that's the biggest thing. That team, I think they had some questions on if they'd be able to make shots at a high level, but they've been really good.
Only 17 points in the first half for the Huskers. You actually outscored them then in the second half, 39 to 35. So your guys fought till the end of this one.
Well, we were really efficient. We had a 58% percentage second half against these guys after shooting, I think, 27 in the first half, and we really had good movement. That was what separated. I think we had did a good job playing off of Derek and cut. And got some points in the paint. We actually outscored these guys by 20 in the paint, and that's hard to do against Michigan State teams.
Derek Walker ends up with 15 for you in this game. As I mentioned, you outscore them in the second half, but they out-rebound you by 11. A lot of second-chance points, and you couldn't make your threes or your free throws, really, in this game.
Yeah, and that hurts you when you go on the road against Michigan State. The two things we talked about was transition and rebounding, and I thought they exposed us in both of those areas. You have to play physical against this team, and they beat us up pretty good on the glass.
Another mid-range jumper there for the Spartans. They win at 74 to 56. Nebraska just 2 of 16 on three-point shots in this game, out-rebounded 32 to 21 in the contest as Michigan State gets the victory over the Big Red. Tyson Walker, again, really good for Sparty as he scores 21 points. When we come back, we'll check out the action from the Huskers' next road game. This was at the Barn in Minneapolis. That's coming up next. Welcome back to the Bank of the West Husker Basketball Show. So Nebraska opened 2023 at Michigan State. Then you continue the road trip up in one of the great places to play college basketball, the Barn in Minneapolis. And this was a fun game. This was a really good game back and forth.
Yeah, a good environment. Early game, 11 o'clock. They had not been drawing very well. I think they said the lowest in 20 years. But they really had a good crowd, and they were into the game. And it was competitive. It was back and forth. It was a game of runs. And, good job. Juwan got us going here, hit a three, and then hit a little pull-up on the next possession right here, I believe it is. But, I thought we kept going. Whatever happened on the floor, we were very resilient. We played through the runs. We played through adversity, and none more than the play you'll see at the end of the game. But a great job by Sam. Really good spacing by our team right there. I thought we were on point with everything after a disappointing performance on the offensive end at Michigan State. We bounced back with one of our better offensive games for 40 minutes in this one.
Shoot 52% in the first half of this game. They had kind of a two-headed monster. Dawson, Garcia, and Jamison Battle, both pretty good players.
Yeah, a very difficult team to prepare for because of their versatility. They've got two of the better bigs as far as guys that can step outside and knock down shots. With Garcia, I was really impressed with him. He's every bit of 6'11" and can step out and knock down shots. He can pass it, and he can score it in the paint as well. And there's Battle. He's when he gets it going, he's very tough to stop. Great play by right here by Casey. They were chasing him. They were all over him. The next play, we ran a little elevator play to get him a three. The other thing I like about this Minnesota team, they got really good young freshmen. Here's that next possession for Casey, and we needed that. I think we're down 6 or 7 points at the time, and Casey gave us back-to-back baskets.
Yeah, kind of an uphill battle in the first half of this game. They kind of kept you at arm's length for most of the first 20.
Yeah, and at the end of the half, they went on a little run and kind of extended it out, gave them a little lead. We went in and we got on our guys pretty good. Good job here with Wilhelm stepping out again. You see that shot is starting to come around. Hit a couple obviously against Illinois. Miscommunication, missed coverage right there. We got to push that to the screen. And this is what I was talking about at the end of the half. And right here, offensive rebound. We got to go hit. We got to create rebound area right there to give them that 6-point lead at the break.
Yeah, so kind of at this point, last 3 or 4 minutes of the half, Minnesota takes a 39-33 lead into the locker room in that first half. But boy, both teams shoot over 50%. They shoot 50% from three. And this had a nice flow about this game.
Yeah, it did. It was fun game for the guys. Besides getting chewed out at halftime, they did a good job sharing it. I thought all game long. I think we had 18 assists overall. 12 of our 14 first half baskets were assisted, and then as we'll see here in the second half, Derek had a career night.
Yeah, a great second half to get to. We'll do that coming up next. We are back on the Bank of the West Husker Basketball Show reviewing the Minnesota game. The Huskers down 6 at half. What was the message at halftime to the guys? Yeah,
the biggest thing was physicality and some miscommunication on coverages. We had two guys rotating to the ball, which opened up the glass for them. Great job by Derek going out and getting us off to a good start and play off the whiteboard. Very important. Great to see Emmanuel knock down a shot. I think that was his first 3 since the Purdue game. Really been working hard on that. It was good to see that pay off. Another tough shot by Garcia right there. We talked about making him shoot through the goalpost, which Derek did, and he hit a tough little bank shot. Good little single side action to get Sam to the rim. I thought Sam was terrific. He really did a good job controlling the pace of this game. Obviously, look at Derek's line, kind of clearing out a side for him right there and really just letting him go to work. And he made some great passes over the course of the game as well. This is one of those freshmen I was talking about earlier from Minnesota. I think he's got a bright future. We missed a double team on that. Good job here by Sam coming over, and then that's got to be a charge right on that one. But a good job coming in by CJ and Sam cracking up and taking care of the glass. Great cut right here. Love that play in transition. Kind of a give and go with Casey and then CJ being the recipient of it. Good job here by our defense with CJ covering, and then we get lost on the baseline. You just got to keep playing. You make one effort, you got to have multiple efforts on every possession. Can't get beat to the middle right there. Again, that kid's a heck of a player. This is one of those runs. They went on it, maybe a biggest shot as any of the game right here. That place was going crazy, and Sam hits the three to really quiet them after we had a lead, and they came back with a nice run. Love that play by Sam. We talk about getting your hands up in that side of two right there and getting a huge steal when we really needed it. And then again, just rode Derek all the way to the end of this game. Got him the ball at the nail. He made quick, decisive moves. Got to the rim, got to the paint pretty much when he wanted. Right there, just a little one step slow right there by Emmanuel to get over and cover that play right here. But again, just keep going to Derek, and Juwan had 2 of these in this game. Just going after that offensive rebound, relentless at the glass. And then again, this is a situation. There was 20 on the clock. Thought it was too much time to foul up 3, but we can't help off that. You got to stay with your man to cover that. Right here, after giving up a bucket, I thought our guys had great composure. They never panicked, didn't come over to the huddle with their heads down. They kept going. Good little high-low play right there. Good flash by CJ, recognizing that. And then a huge play right here by Derek, getting Emmanuel that 3-point play to give us a little cushion. And then again, just kept riding him. here in an awesome job with so much attention being drawn to Derek. That's what opened that play up right there for Juwan to get the tip in.
So much toughness showed by your team in the overtime. You made some free throws when you needed to, Lake, and you walk out of the barn with a victory of 81-79. First road overtime conference win for the Huskers since 2001. Back in the Big 12 days, they won an overtime game at Colorado. You mentioned the 18 assists, but there's a lot to like that final box score.
Yeah, and you mentioned the free throws, especially you look at Derek going 4 for 6 after I think a 1 for 8 performance at Michigan State. Griesel went in and knocked down all his free throws. CJ making one there at the end. I think 16 for 21, if I'm not mistaken. It's a great sign. You know, you got to be able to knock down free throws in an overtime game, be able to convert those free ones when you get them.
Huskers get it done on the road. When we come back, it's back to PBA to take on the Fighting Illini. That highlight segment coming up next. Welcome back to the Bank of the West Husker basketball show. So Nebraska coming off that road victory, overtime win over Minnesota. You're back to PBA. You've only played like 3 games in 34 days at home, and this thing got off to a really rocky start. It was a foul fest in the first 10 minutes.
It really had. It seemed like we hadn't been there forever. And, come out an 8 o'clock game after the 11 o'clock. You're right. There was no flow to it. Fouls, they hurt us in a big way to some key guys. Derek picking up his second one on a really cheap call, I thought, in the backcourt where there wasn't much contact. Great play by Juwan right there. Just continues to make a lot of hustle plays, winning plays for this team. And then the other guy was Emmanuel, picked up 2 fouls as well, and Wilhelm had 3. And, just kind of forces you to go and have to get into the bench. But, key guys, again, when Derek on the floor coming off the best game probably of his career, and then with the foul troubles early, that keeps him on the bench for about 15 minutes. We kept within striking distance. I thought about putting him back in there, but we kept it right around 10. And we felt if we did that, if we made a run with our key guys back in the lineup, that we could get back in the game.
And boy, was Shannon good in this game for Illinois.
Yeah, he was unbelievable. And, second half, I thought we came out and really responded. And, they were up 11. We got 3 quick baskets on cuts and movement. That's what got us back in the game. And then they got hot. They made some threes right here. And, again, they really hurt us on the glass. Tough shot there by Coleman Hawkins. But we still had it. This thing was a 10-point game with 6 minutes left, and they just went on a monumental run at the end. These are some of those cuts I'm talking about, getting it to Derek, finishing our cut all the way to the restricted area, but too many live ball turnovers. This was the difference in the second half. They just kept getting turnovers and pick sixes, and another point of emphasis, you can't do that against this Illinois team. They're going to make it pay for it when they can steal the ball and get down floor and start playing downhill.
So we're about to come up on a big stretch for Wilhelm. Breidenbach had 11 straight points for him. That cut it down to a single-digit game right there with about still 6-7 minutes to go.
Yeah, he was great. And, again, we got to get rid of those fouls early in the game. Again, I hadn't played him a lot with 2 just because how foul-prone he'd been. But, we picked up, unfortunately, a third. But he was great this stretch. You go down 20, you cut that thing all the way back to a single-digit game, and it was Wilhelm, whether it was 3-point shot. It was great to see him right here with the confidence to step out. He missed one early, turned down another one where he was all by himself, but then it was great to see him have that nice little stretch.
76-50, the final score. The Huskers dropped 1 to the Fighting Illini. We're back with some final thoughts from the coach coming up next.
Minnesota, Terrell Payne and Braden Carrington. Backdoor Griesel catching and scoring off. Griesel for the tie, yes! Back and forth we go, and back even at 61. Vanderbilt looking for Walker. Finds him. Drives on. Garcia missed it. The follow, no! From Juwan Gary. 81-79 in overtime. The Huskers win by 2.
Those were our Hy-Vee sounds of the game. Now the Huskers will turn their attention to the Buckeyes for the midweek game and at Penn State on the weekend. Ohio State's got the ability to be a really top-notch team.
Yeah, they're really good. One of the best freshmen in the country. Who's going to be probably a top 5 draft pick, and a team that's really playing good basketball right now.
And Penn State's much improved.
Yeah, they're another team that they went into Illinois and pretty much dominated that thing start to finish. Won I think by 15 overall, and then Northwestern. You look at that next one; they're playing really good in the top top 5 or 6 teams in the league right now. I can't look at that thing and say there's one team that's going to be, where you can take a breath. It's just going to be like this night in and night out in the Big Ten, and hopefully go out and compete for 40 minutes.
All right, have a good week.
Yep, you too. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for being a part of this one. My thanks to the entire Husker Vision crew and to you for watching. We invite you to join us again here next week for an inside look at Husker basketball.